They thought my absence was their opportunity. While I was deployed overseas, my HOA illegally sold my land to build their dream subdivision, assuming a soldier like me couldn't fight back from halfway across the world. They didn't know that my rank, my connections, and the law were all on my side, and when I returned, I didn't just take my land back, I took theirs. If you love shocking revenge stories with twists you'll never see coming, subscribe right now because this is one you'll be telling your friends about for years. I was halfway through my deployment in the Middle East, counting down the days until I could see my wife and newborn son, when an email from my sister back home nearly made me throw my helmet across the desert. The HOA board in my small hometown had announced that my 10-acre property, which I'd inherited from my grandfather, was now part of their new luxury subdivision expansion. According to them, I had missed the notice and failed to object in time, so they'd legally acquired it through some shady eminent domain loophole. My sister had tried to fight them, but the smug HOA president, Gregory Slate, a man who wore polo shirts tucked into khaki shorts year-round, told her, he's overseas. He won't be back in time to do anything. I'd always suspected Gregory had a personal grudge against my family, especially after my grandfather refused to sell him the land years ago, but now I saw his real plan. They were using my deployment as the perfect cover. What they didn't know was that my land wasn't just sentimental. It was technically federal property under my care because my grandfather had leased part of it to the National Guard decades ago for training and storage purposes, something still active under a classified clause. So when I called my Judge Advocate General contact, Major Reynolds, and explained the situation, he nearly laughed. They just committed a federal offense, Staff Sergeant. Not just civil theft. They've literally built houses on a military-controlled asset. I told him to start the paperwork, and in the meantime, I began digging. Turns out the HOA had already pre-sold 6 of the future homes to wealthy buyers, took deposits, and even posted glossy brochures showing golf cart paths where my grandfather's barn still stood. They thought I was powerless. But power, I learned in the Army, isn't about who yells the loudest, it's about who has the right allies. I quietly contacted every family who had once owned land in that subdivision and found a pattern. Gregory had been bullying, fining, and suing people until they sold for pennies. I wasn't just going to win my land back, I was going to blow up his entire empire. By the time my deployment ended, the JAG team had drafted a federal reclamation order, signed by the Department of Defense, stating that all land acquired in the past 5 years by the Lakeside Vista HOA was subject to military repossession pending investigation. I flew home in uniform, not because I wanted the drama, but because I wanted them to understand exactly who they had underestimated. When I walked into the HOA meeting, Gregory smirked like he was about to, politely, escort me out. Instead, I dropped the sealed order on the table. Gregory, I said, you sold my land while I was defending this country. Now the country is taking all of yours. The board members laughed nervously until military police walked in behind me, informing them they had 48 hours to vacate any disputed property until the investigation concluded. The subdivision turned into chaos. New homeowners realized their deeds were worthless, investors started demanding refunds, and Gregory's own mansion was sitting squarely on one of the parcels the military reclaimed. But here's the twist. I didn't just stop there. During the investigation, I uncovered fraudulent financial records showing Gregory had siphoned HOA dues into a personal development fund that paid for his travel, cars, and consulting fees to fake companies. I handed everything to both the FBI and the state attorney general. Gregory went from HOA president to inmate faster than you can say, community guidelines. The repossessed land, once cleared, was officially transferred back to me under federal protection. But instead of keeping it just for myself, I invited back all the families Gregory had wronged, offering them their land for free. We formed a private cooperative. No HOA, no power-hungry bullies, just neighbors who actually respected one another. And as for the subdivision Gregory tried to build, it sits empty, a ghost development, overgrown and crumbling, a monument to greed and the danger of underestimating a soldier. They tried to take my land while I was deployed. I came back and took their entire world.